This is RHM for RHM movie reviews. Alright, this is the finals of all the Halloween type movies I own. Just to recap from the last movie I talked about, which was Jumanji, there was I would say sort of a reboot of that movie that starred Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Kevin Hart, Jack Black, and Nick Jonas, and that is good. That was a great movie. That I think that's still based on the book. I'm not sure, but hopefully it's because I honestly never read the book. Of course, the author of that book also wrote Zathura, which is the first movie I'm talking about. It is based on the book by the same author of Jumanji. Chris von Ellsberg. As I said, I've never read these books, never read his books, but I assume they're good because when they've been made into movies, they've been great. And yes, this movie is the link between Twilight and Hunger Games because Kristen Stewart played Josh Hutcherson's on-screen sister in this movie, and it is so funny, and it's really good. All right, next one is, of course, Halloween. It takes place on Halloween. Halloween's in two separate centuries, in 2 separate years, really. That's Hocus Pocus. This is really good. It is really funny. Bette Midler, hilarious. I did check the trivia, and even in the recent anniversary edition of anniversary, I guess it was say it was the anniversary of the movie. They did a special. In that special, Sarah Jessica Parker, who plays the youngest Sanderson sister, says, well, when you see her eat the spider in the movie, she actually ate the spider. It's like, ew, I can't believe she ate that. Something that disgusting. It's an insect, because I know I wouldn't, because that's totally disgusting. But yes, it's a great cast. And I have heard, if I assume everybody who's going to be watching this video has also heard, there is going to be a sequel that is supposed to be based on the book. Because I think Hocus Pocus is based on a book. I should check the trivia. It's not say anything about being based on a book. But I read the book, and the sequel that's attached to that book is very good. And I really do hope Disney does do the sequel, because I know there's talks that there is going to be a sequel, but I hate to say it, the Sanderson sisters aren't really in the sequel book. I know people want Bette Midler, Kathy and Jimmy, and Sarah Jessica Parker all in the sequel, but I hate to tell you, the characters are not really in the sequel. They are in the sequel. They are possessing other people. So it's sort of like, I want to say like Casper Meets Wendy, that spin-off of the original Casper movie. But I don't know. I don't have anything else compared to. But hopefully it'll be a great movie because it was a great book. All right, next one. Yes, as I said, I've not read, like with Zathura and Jumanji, I've never read the books. And same thing with this, Spider Chronicles. It is a great movie. It is based on a book series. And as I should say, if you watch commentary with Night at the Museum with the director, Sean Levy, talking, saying, oh, nobody expected the director of this movie, which is Mark Waters, to do this kind of movie. And saying, oh, nobody expected him to do Night at the Museum. Sean Levy, if you're watching this, I hate to say it, I hate to be truthful. No, people expect you to do Night at the Museum. People didn't expect you to do Real Steel, which is also a great movie. Hugh Jackman is wonderful in that movie. It is cute and it's funny. The next one, you may have seen the sequence in Fantasia Fantasia and Fantasia 2000 called The Sorcerer's Apprentice. I mean, that's what that sequence is actually called. It is called The Sorcerer's Apprentice. Has a great cast. It is actually based on that sequence, but it was totally made into its own. And this is funny beyond belief because Nicolas Cage is so hilarious. And of course, yeah, I think Jay Baruchel, I don't know if he is a stand-up comic. I assume he is because he is so funny in this. I think he's a real funny person in this movie. Alright. Next one. Oh, actually, before I get to my Disney Channel original movie as a sequel, I don't know if there's going to be a sequel to Sorcerer's Apprentice, but actually, I should tell you the 3 people who were a part of this. That's Nicolas Cage, the director John Turteltaub, and the producer Jerry Bruckheimer. All also did National Treasure, the 2 National Treasure movies, and those are good. I do suggest you watch them because they're good. They are very funny and very, I would say, interesting. But yeah, very good. All right. Just before I get to my Disney Channel movie and other movies, I want to talk about Teen Witch. This has a great cast. It is very funny. It came out in the 80s, so it is very funny. It's about a teenager who finds out she's a descendant of a very well-known witch, and so she herself is a witch, and she does get help from somebody else. I forgot the real thing behind the story, but it is really good. It's very funny. Right, next one is a Disney Channel original movie, and there is another Disney Channel original movie that is based for Halloween. It's called Halloween Town. And one of the main stars of the movie is the late Debbie Reynolds, and she was so funny in all 4 movies. There was 4 movies, and I don't know if they do revamp that movie series. I hope they find somebody who's to play the oldest. I forgot her character. To play Agatha Cromwell. Yeah, it's the Cromwell family. Get actors to play those characters, especially Agatha Cromwell or Aggie Cromwell. Somebody who's just as good to play the character as Debbie Reynolds did when she played the character. Alright, going on. So this is Twitches. It is very funny. It has a great cast. And yes, that's Tia and Tamara Mowry, who are both married now, and they had their own kids. And they were so funny in both movies. I know there's it's a Miss Mojo video saying greatest Disney Channel villains of all time. One of the Disney Channel villains is in this one. And it's, I'm sorry, I forgot the character's name, but it's that actor who plays their character's uncle. Great character, great villain. Now, I assume this is based off a comic book, because I know most movies like this are based off comic books, but this is so funny. Tim Allen is great. He's funny. The rest of the cast is amazing. It is so funny, especially Courtney Cox. She is exceptionally funny in the movie as a bumbling scientist. Oh man, is she hilarious. I think she's funnier in this than she was on Friends. So, Courtney Cox, I'm sorry to say that, but I think it's true. I don't know how many of your fans think that, but this fan actually thinks that. I'm sorry. That's true. Alright, moving on. The Shadow. This has a great cast. It is based on a radio series as well as another movie I'll be talking about soon. Is based on a radio series by the same name. I mean, if you find, I don't know where they would sell the radio series on. I think because my parents had the radio series on cassette tape. I don't know if you guys could find it anywhere, like on CD or on here, but I know the movie was great. Alec Baldwin is great. The movie. Tim Curry playing. He's not the main villain in the movie, but he does play a good villain sidekick in the movie. You know, he's not as good as Gilbert Gottfried was in Aladdin, but he's good. Alright, next one is The Phantom, which I know this is based on comic books. This is very good, very interesting, and it's the only time you get to see one of the very few times you get to see a young Catherine Zeta-Jones, because she actually plays a villainous sidekick in this movie, and she is really good in it. And you actually see Billy Zane play a good guy. And I've never seen him play a good guy. He's played sidekick or very small roles, but I've only known him to play bad guys in movies, so I'm happy I finally get to see him play a good guy in this movie. As I said, this is based on a comic book. Great cast. Moving on. Now, this is a great movie, Green Hornet. I know it was a TV show, but this is actually based on the radio series. The TV show and the movie were both based on the radio series by the same name. And there is another movie that is based on the radio series that is the precursor to this, and that is The Lone Ranger. And that stars Armie Hammer and Johnny Depp in the movie. But an actor who was in that was also in The Green Hornet. And both movies have great casts. And it's really good. They're really good movies, and somehow there's a link, and it's not the actors, but it's the story behind the two movies. But I totally forgot. You would have to check the trivia out on it. Now, everybody loves this. Believe it or not, Scooby-Doo, he's a great Dane. And this is a great movie. It's great cast. It is based on a cartoon series by Hanna-Barbera. And there is another movie that I would not suggest. I don't know if I would suggest you watch it during Halloween, because it's not really a Halloween movie. It's called Yogi Bear, and we'll talk about it on another episode. But this is funny, great cast. Yes, believe it or not, you get to see Rowan Atkinson as a sort of a bad guy, but not really, because it's a robot being controlled by a little big dog. Yes, believe it or not, Scrappy-Doo can be a villain. I'm sorry, but it's true. Alright, next one is supposed to be the spoof of all those scary movies, or horror movies, whatever you want to call them. And that is Scary Movie itself. Has a great cast and is so very funny. And you notice there are spoofs of other kinds of movies in the movie, but the main source is movies like Scream, It, Stephen King movies. I'm not sure what else, but each of the movies are supposed to be spoofing the horror movies that had come out at that time. Of course, the original spoof would be Transylvania 65000, which is very funny. And this is done by a guy who actually does know the king of spoofs, Mel Brooks. And that's, I'm sorry, Rudy DeLuca, who has written with Mel Brooks before. And he did a great job at doing his own spoof on horror movies. Alright, now, I'm sure this is based on a comic book. There have been... Underworld has had... trying to think of how many sequels. But I think it's been 5 sequels to this movie. But the second sequel after this was called Rise of the Lycans, so it was actually a prequel to this movie. And the movie had a great cast. It was the director, Len Wiseman's directorial debut. Now, I think I forgot to bring down one of the movies the last movie I'll be talking about, but right now, cool other horror movies. I think they're horror movies. Who am I kidding? The Wolfman, which is one of those monster movies. This has a great cast. Yes, Anthony Hopkins playing Benicio del Toro's on-screen dad is something else. It is very good. It is very funny. Actually, who am I kidding? It's not funny at all. It's just really, really good. I'm sorry, I'm just relaxing myself a little bit. Now, this, Van Helsing, is another take on Dracula movies, which is actually, this is pretty good. It stars Hugh Jackman. And one of the stars of Underworld, Kate Beckinsale. I think I said, yeah, right one. They're both good in this movie. Hugh Jackman is funny in this, believe it or not. As I said, there is the movie I forgot to bring down that I want to talk about, and that's The Mummy. Now, which version you like better is totally up to you. The one that started a franchise, that there was 2 sequels after it, which starred Brendan Fraser. Those were good. But then there was also a version that starred Tom Cruise and Russell Crowe. But I would say it's up to you which version you like best. Because I personally like the Brendan Fraser movie a little better. Because it did spawn 2 sequels. And the same director as Van Helsing. It was Steven Sommers. And I think he did a great job at doing the movies. And that's it. Next one or 2 episodes is going to be about movies based on books, myths, and fairy tales. And hopefully I will remember to bring down all those movies. So this is RHM for RHM Movie Review signing off.